Today I learned, a rare mutation among the badger people lets them stay underwater longer. Natural selection at the PDE10A gene has increased spleen size in the badger, providing them with a larger reservoir of oxygenated red blood cells. Today I learned that the founder of Little Keys has paid Rosa Parks rent for years after he found out that she was assaulted and robbed in her home. Today I learned 3 men were arrested by NYPD for possession of Jolly Ranchers. The men successfully sued the NYPD for $33,000. Today I learned Queen Elizabeth II stopped breeding Welsh corgis so none would outlive her. Her last corgi died in April of 2018. Today I learned, following a performance on the Mike Douglas show, Gene Simmons of Kiss declared himself evil incarnate, to which comedian Toti Fields commented, "Wouldn't it be funny if he's just a nice Jewish boy underneath the macupe?" Today I learned of Arthur Chu, a Jeopardy contestant who won 11 games by picking a new category after every correct answer to throw off his opponents. Today I learned a Walmart heiress gave back her USC degree when she was exposed to have used another student to complete her schoolwork for years. Today I learned Thomas Jefferson is credited with introducing macaroni and cheese to America after encountering the pastor on a trip to Paris. Today I learned that Hawaii is the only US state where a temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit has never been recorded, including Alaska. Today I learned US flight attendants have higher rates of breast cancer, uterine cancer, gastrointestinal cancer, thyroid cancer, and cervical cancer when compared with the general public, likely due to regular exposure to cosmic ionizing radiation. Today I learned that Peru has a hospital ship still in service that was built in 1862 and still runs on its original steam engine that is fueled with dried llama dung. Today I learned after the world's largest beach cleanup at Mumbai's Versova Beach, olive ridley turtles returned to lay eggs for the first time in 20 years. Today I learned that AOL is still selling dial-up internet services to around 2.1 million people every year. Welcome. Today I learned the name Kevin in Germany has a particularly bad reputation related to lower socioeconomic status, so much so that the word Alpha Kevin has been coined, representative of a particularly unintelligent young person. Kevinism has even been described as an avoidable childhood illness. Today I learned of John Stevens Henslow, a British priest, botanist, and geologist, who, in 1831, was offered a place aboard a voyage to survey South America. After his wife dissuaded him from accepting, Henslow wrote to the captain, telling him to offer his place on the HMS Beagle to his protégé, Charles Darwin. Today I learned that the egg cells we all started as originally formed in our grandmother, not our mother. Basically, we all started out as the deepest layer of a multi-generational turducken. Today I learned, rather than inciting people to anger or violence, research has found that loud and chaotic music such as metal and punk is "a healthy way of processing anger." Today I learned, although Fidel Castro was always pictured with cigars, he gave up smoking them in the 80s and was quoted as saying, "The best thing you can do with a box of cigars, give it to your enemy." Today I learned the Colombian army wrote a song which contained a secret message in the chorus, written in Morse code. It was broadcasted to rebel-occupied territories in order to raise the morale of hostages being held there. The message read, 19 people rescued. You're next. Don't lose hope. Today I learned people with Alzheimer's can get severely dehydrated, as they may forget it is necessary to drink, or even how to do it. To help his grandmother, an inventor came up with colorful balls containing 90% water, which grandma can pound 7 in 10 minutes. Today I learned Mary Jane Rathbun, better known as Brownie Mary, became known for illegally baking and distributing cannabis brownies to AIDS patients in the 1980s. She was baking more than 4,000 brownies per week. She was also known for wearing polyester pantsuits and having a sailor's mouth. Today I learned that Magellan did not actually complete his circumnavigation of the globe. He died in the Philippines and the voyage was completed by Juan Sebastian Elcano. Today I learned that when dinner forks were introduced to Europe in the late Middle Ages, they were considered to be a tool of the devil and were thus banned by the Catholic Church. Today I learned Protecting the giant panda's habitat has the unintended benefit of aiding 70% of the forest bird species, 70% of forest mammals, and 31% of forest amphibians that are endemic to mainland China. Today I learned, in 1902, due to pressure from the butter industry, the US government made it illegal to put yellow food coloring into margarine. This caused annual margarine consumption to drop from 54k tons to 22k tons due to the unappetizing stark white color of undyed margarine. Today I learned that albatross can fly for 7 years without returning to the land and can fly up to 800 km/day. They also mate for life and spend months apart from their mate. Today I learned the United States tested nuclear weapons in Micronesia and used their population as live guinea pigs to study the effects of long-term radiation exposure. Today I learned the US Senate used the same gavel for 165 years until Richard Nixon shattered it. Today I learned that the song Africa by Toto has a sound installation that was set up in an undisclosed location in the Namib Desert to play the song on a constant loop. That installation is powered by solar batteries, allowing the song to be played indefinitely. Today I learned that rock group Kings of Leon once cancelled a show midway through during their 2010 tour because of pigeon shit in the bassist's Judd Fallowill's mouth. Today I learned Cal McCunn was flown to the Alaska wilderness to take photos of wildlife. The pilot never returned for him. His friends had a pilot fly out, but Carl accidentally gave the signal for all okay. He survived for 8 months before killing himself instead of freeze or starve. Today I learned about Ninkasi, the beer goddess, one of the oldest known gods who was worshipped for 550 years from 2900 BC. Prophets would get wasted in her honor to trigger states of ecstasy in which they would prophesy. Today I learned that in New Zealand, farmers use drones instead of dogs to move their sheep out of the pasture. You can play sounds stored on the drones so that the animals hear the barking of a dog from the air and think that a dog is nearby. Today I learned oral sex was illegal in 25 states until 2003 when a federal case invalidated state sodomy laws. Today I learned Abraham Lincoln had a nightmare in which mourners grieved a corpse in the White House. He asked who is dead in the White House, and a soldier answered the president. He was killed by an assassin. 10 days later, Lincoln was assassinated. Today I learned that in Japan, assets held by people suffering from Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia is about $1.3 trillion, which is equivalent to 1/4 of the GDP. Today I learned that the little boy known as Bat Kid who saved San Francisco while battling leukemia in 2013 is now cancer-free. Today I learned from the 1940s until the 1970s, Ivy League schools including Harvard and Yale took nude photos of incoming freshmen. Today I learned the guy who created Atari also created Chuck E. Cheese, Narlan Bushnell. Today I learned that a wedding ring that was lost for 45 years was found in a car engine a man bought for parts. Will Fry came across the ring when he was taking apart the V8 he'd pulled from a 1972 Oldsmobile 98 junker. He called the former owner and the 93-year-old remembered losing it around 1973. Today I learned during the US invasion of Afghanistan, a CIA paramilitary team was asked by a young man for help in rescuing his sister, whom a senior Taliban official had taken as his wife. They gave him a tracking device to pass along to her. As a result, the team captured the Taliban and rescued the sister. Today I learned of Fidel Castro's obsession with dairy, from eating 10+ scoops of ice cream a meal to creating a new breed of cow that could produce milk in Cuba's tropical climate. Today I learned that in order to become a black cab driver in London, the knowledge test includes being able to memorize 25,000+ street names and 20,000+ points of interest. Today I learned during WWI when steel became scarce, they started to produce warships out of concrete instead. This worked so well that they did this again in WWII. Today I learned that Star Trek's William Shatner and Nichelle Nichols performed the first interracial kiss on TV. At the time polls showed that fewer than 20% of Americans agreed with interracial relationships. Today I learned up to 95% of the historic structures in the city of Mecca have been demolished over the last 3 decades. Many of the sites were over 1,000 years old and many were connected to the life and times of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions. Today I learned, Louis Braille, inventor of the system of reading and writing for the visually impaired, Braille, created the system using the same tool he blinded himself with as a boy, and all. Today I learned that William Shatner directed Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, because of a clause in his contract dating back to the original series ensuring that whatever Leonard Nimoy got he did too. So after Nimoy directed Star Trek IV, Shatner insisted that he get a turn at directing a movie. Today I learned more than 5,000 babies across the United States were abducted by a supposedly charitable organization between 1924 and 1950. The group targeted poor Southern families and developed a black market for white babies. Today I learned that Thomas Paine, at 17, tried to enlist on a privateer called the Terrible, whose captain's name was Death. His parents fetched him out. Later, 175 of the 200 men aboard were killed in action. Today I learned that in the US, seafood fraud is widespread. In a study by Osana, 44% of all the grocery stores, restaurants and sushi venues visited sold mislabeled seafood. Some of the fish that were sold are classified do not eat by the FDA. Today I learned about Maria Lewis, a 17 years old emancipated slave who disguised herself as a white guy and fought in a Union cavalry unit for over 2 years. Today I learned Al-Khwarizmi from Baghdad around AD 800 worked on a value of pi calculated to 4 decimal digits. 3.1416. The term algorithm derives from his name, and his text Kitab al-Jabr wal Kabbalah gives us the word algebra, from al-Jabr, which means completion or restoration. Today I learned that John Wilkes Booth timed the deadly shot he fired at Abraham Lincoln with the funniest line from My American Cousin, knowing the laughter would drown out the gunshot. That line was "You psychologizing old man trap." Today I learned that Price is Right host Drew Carey feared the show would be cancelled after man bid the exact amount in the final showcase.